Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the Complete Harp Beginner series. Last session we learned our first tune, first steps. I really hope you guys are enjoying playing some melody on your instrument. And in the session today, we are going to move on to some troubleshooting. So I'm going to go over 3 common struggles that you might be facing as a new harpist, and just some tips and tricks to get around those little struggles. If you are having any issues or you've got any questions, then please do give us a comment on this video and we can get back to you, and we can also make more videos to help you with any of your questions in the rest of our channel. But in today's session, we're going to focus on 3 common struggles that starter harpists face. So let's get to it. Alright everyone, so the first thing that we are going to talk a little bit about today is tension. So quite often harpists feel a little bit of tension building up in their body. They might even be eking into little bits of pain in their hands, their thumbs, or often across the back of their shoulders. So just a few tips if you're feeling tension or if you're even letting that go into pain. Of course, we really want to, if we're having pain during our harping, then we definitely want to be addressing that. We definitely don't want to be playing in any pain. We want everything to be comfortable. So the first thing, if you're experiencing tension or pain, is to check in with your body. Have you made sure that you are in a great sitting position, that your harp is at the right height, that it's tilted correctly? If your harp is at the wrong height and your hands are low on the strings, or your hands are high on the strings, you might feel that you're creating a stretch across your back or across your shoulders, which isn't feeling too good. So definitely have a look back on our seating position video. I will share it above my head, so you can click back. But just as a few tips, feet flat on the floor and feeling your seat bones in your chair. Your knees should be lower than your hips. Remember, if your knees are higher than your hips, it's easy for you to roll back on your back, and that can create tension and pain. Tension is obviously a mixture of pain and tension. It can create tension or pain in the back. Make sure that you're sitting up nice and straight with your core engaged, but you're not forcing yourself. Again, this is going to create tension in your shoulders. And make sure your harp is at that angle. If your harp's too straight on, you'll end up bending your head like this, and that's going to cause pain down your side. And then of course, make sure you've got your elbows out at a nice angle. If your elbows are too in and you're creating bends in your wrist, then it's easy for pain and tension to build up in your hands. So all of these little tips, and also take regular breaks, especially when you're starting out. Making your body go into this position, not really the most natural position for everyone. We don't generally sit watching TV like this or doing our work like this. So do take your time to ease into your harp playing. Take short practice times, take lots of breaks, and do lots of shoulder rolls and stretches to help you feel really good. Now, I do want to say at this point that if you are experiencing pain during your playing, and even if that pain is happening when you're not sitting at your harp, please always seek professional advice. I know that a lot of harpists can give great advice about your posture and your position, your hands, and all these things, which can certainly help alleviate these symptoms. But harpists are not doctors, so if you are experiencing pain, particularly when you're away from your harp, then please do seek professional advice for that. We definitely want to make sure that we're getting proper advice on our own bodies and on our medical care. Also, remember that everyone's body is slightly different, and so you will have to adapt your harp, your seating position, the height, your arms, your fingers, all of these things you have to adapt to you. Make sure you're feeling comfortable, you're feeling relaxed, and then you're thinking about all these different points that I have given you as well. And that should help alleviate any symptoms of tension. Okay, next up guys, we're gonna have a little conversation about buzzing. Now, finger buzzing is quite common on the harp, not just for beginners, but actually for everyone. It's very easy to have a bit of buzzing on the harp. The best way to get rid of buzzing is to have confident placing, is to place your fingers really confidently on the strings. Now, the kind of buzzing I'm talking about is something maybe like this. This, or this. These kind of noises, or maybe this. Okay, so all of these are noises that can really easily happen if you are not approaching the string with confidence. Let's take a closer look whilst I explain this. So I'm just going to look at this middle C here. It doesn't matter what finger I use really. So if I have this string vibrating and I'm coming back to put my finger onto this string, if I have my finger approach very tentatively and slowly and then place, then you'll notice that I get this buzzing. We don't like that. But if I pluck my finger and then place my finger very directly, very confidently onto the string, you'll notice that we eliminate that nasty kind of buzz that happens as we approach the string. Okay. Now the other thing about this is making sure that you place your fingers in that downward position. So you're not placing your fingers straight on and then sliding your fingers into position. It's much harder to place your tips onto the finger, your fingertips onto the strings from this pointy kind of straight on angle. If you think about it, your fingers are then straight and they're approaching the strings right at the end. It's hard to control them. Whereas if you're opening your hand with your fingers in that nice downward position and you're just opening your hand and putting your fingers on the strings, as opposed to coming straight and then sliding, you're much less likely to get any finger noise or any buzzing on those strings. Okay, so place with confidence and also place your fingers in that downward position. Don't place your fingers straight on and then slide. And that should help you out with any issues of buzzing that you're having. So the last little troubleshooting we're going to look at today is playing smoothly. So if we take, for example, our tune First Steps that we learned in our last session, and I'll link the last session up above so you guys can see it nice and easy. We want to be able to play this tune smoothly without taking breaks. But if you're first starting out, you might find that as you try and find the strings, you might be taking breaks. Okay? Now, to play smoothly, what you need to practice is placing shapes, placing full shapes. So in the example that I'm using here, our First Steps example, in fact, let's go close up for this. If I've got a 5-finger shape at the start of our tune. I need to get all 5 fingers on to start. If I place this going, my thumb goes here, and then my 2 goes here, my left hand thumb is here, and then my 2, and then my 3, it takes me all these 5 little bits of thought to get these different strings on. So if I'm thinking kind of thumb on G, 2 on E, thumb on G, 2 on E, 3 on C, it's going to take me all that time. Whereas if I am able to place the shapes, if I find 5-finger shape, if I practice placing the whole shape on the string in one, not the individual fingers, but the whole shape, that's going to really help me to smooth things up. So when I transition from my individual notes, shapes, it helps me create that time. It helps me get my fingers on the strings in time to create the smoothness. Now, you might find that when you're first starting, placing shapes is actually a little bit frustrating because your fingers maybe don't want to place on the right strings, or they don't want to place in a nice position. And so when you place your fingers individually, you're much more capable of placing your fingers in a nice position. But it's really worth at this stage persevering with taking your time to think, place the shape. Practice placing the shape, the whole shape. Practice placing both hand shapes at once. Okay? This really is the fundamental way to get smoothness in playing, is placing shapes and advanced placing. And as you move on and you're maybe linking shapes together, as you move on with your playing, this concept of advanced placing, it's really important for getting that smoothness. So the first thing, I guess, my advice would be here about those of you who are getting a bit frustrated about getting smooth playing is give yourself a break. Give yourself a kind pause. Allow yourself a bit of space to place the shapes. Take the time at this stage to place the shapes. It will be worth it in the end. And the more you practice placing those shapes, the smoother the tune will become in the long run. Okay everyone, I hope that you found those 3 little troubleshootings helpful for you, and those tips will help you if you are struggling with buzzing, smoothness of playing, or any tension or pain. Of course, please do leave a comment if you've got any other questions we can help you out with. Just ask and we'll do whatever we can to help with that. Do also please like and subscribe, stick with us. We have one more session left in our Complete Harp Beginner series, and that session is going to be learning another tune. This time we're going to be learning to play the tune Hands Together. And so join me in our next session where we learn our last tune, Three's a Crowd. I can't wait to teach it to you.